explains to him that people who get to I rank can switch partners after a month of being together. He realizes that getting that high of a score will involve him and her pretending to be a very good couple, and he thinks that would be dangerous. She asks him what he's so embarrassed about, and if they act good together, they will definitely succeed. She whispers in his ear that she will be the perfect wife for him, and that she's counting on him. After that interaction, the rank goes up, but Jiro is too much of an anime protagonist and decides to walk away. After he leaves, Akari is sitting sadly as she doesn't want any girl to take Tenjin away from her, and that she must try her hardest, because this is also her first time doing all of this. Jiro goes to get a drink, and sees that his crush is paired up with Akari's crush, and he hears them saying they are happy to be together. He runs home sadly and turns into a stone statue. Akari mocks him by calling him a killjoy, and that he doesn't stand a chance against Tenjin if he will be sitting and moping around. He tells her he is very sad, and Akari then decides to be very nice to him. She tells him that she actually wants to be a good wife for him, because if they take this seriously, they can both get the happy ending and get practice for when they're with the person they love. She holds his face, telling him that being sad and mopey won't get him anywhere. Jiro's friend rings the doorbell, and Jiro is ready to leave. She tells him that he shouldn't leave while they have negative points, so he should give her a goodbye kiss. Jiro thinks she is talking about the fish, but then she finally makes him understand. His friend keeps banging the doorbell. Akari makes fun of him by calling him and his friend birds. He holds her face and leans in, kissing her. Jiro blushes as he walks away, and Akari didn't mean for him to kiss her on the lips. They are at 0 points. Jiro dreams of Shiori waking him up with a kiss. He gets banged in the head, and Akari asks him what he means by kiss me. Jiro doesn't remember how he fell asleep there, but remembers how good his kiss with her felt. At school, the teacher tells him to meet her at the office with Akari. He looks outside and sees Shiori hugging Tenja. He pretends he's upset all class to beg for attention, but Shiori doesn't say anything to him. He begins imagining Shiori with Tenja, and begins crying. When school ends, it rains outside. Jiro forgot his umbrella, and the boys talk about their gacha games, and Akari comes and interrupts, telling Jiro that she will be late today as she will be at a cafe with her friends and Tenjin will be there. He remembers that the teacher told them to meet at the office, so Akari tells him to take care of it alone and leaves. Jiro complains, saying it's the worst day ever. Bird-kun number 2 tells him to hell with that. Jiro's childhood friend is beautiful, and he gets to go home to a hot girl every day. He asks him if he's the hero of some harem anime or something. This guy's onto us. He thinks that no one needs him. The teacher tells him that his grade hasn't moved up or down in 2 weeks, and that he is at the lowest rank. He won't be able to graduate if they keep failing to earn points like this. Akari flirts with Tenjin at the karaoke bar, but Jiro is still sitting and waiting for the rain to stop since he doesn't have an umbrella. He thinks about how Akari is likely having so much more fun with her actual crush. Shiori comes in from behind him and asks to sit next to him. She also forgot her umbrella and hugs onto Jiro's arm. She tells him that she hugged him because she was scared of the bug, but it was just a drawing, and Jiro realizes that she only hugged Tenjin because she was probably scared of a bug too. Jiro calls her formally by her last name, but she tells him that she hates it and wants him to call her by her first name like he used to. Jiro doesn't understand why she wants this, but he attempts to be brave and stutter while saying her name. Before he finishes, Prince Charming comes to interrupt and tells her that he will walk her home because she doesn't have an umbrella. Akari waits outside in the rain. She comes in later and decides to walk home with him under the umbrella. Along the way, she complains about having to walk with him because she would have wanted to walk with Tenjin. Jiro apologizes, and she asks him if he has any real intention to get his girl. She pinches his cheek and tells him that he shouldn't give up for both of their sakes. They walk together and she tells him that she is hungry. He asks her if she wants to go to a convenience store, and she says that she doesn't. She makes him real omelet rice at home and begins pouring ketchup on the rice. She tells him that he has to move slowly and that he shouldn't too quickly. She says, be more gentle, yet so good. Dignity. He eats her food and thinks that it is extremely good. He takes a spoonful and attempts to feed her. She says there's no chance of doing it and embarrasses him. He tells her that he will never do it again, so she gets up and eats it. They look at each other, blushing.
I hear Lash Blast is America's favorite mascara.
10 times more volume. Mega. From CoverGirl.
Jiro walks walks outside with his phone and is extremely flustered. Her heart is pounding so fast, neither of them get it. Shiori bangs on Jiro's door and calls out his name. He sees her waiting outside in the rain. He asks her why she is wet. She asks to stay with him, and he says her name. He leans in for a kiss, but hears Akari's voice along with bang. She tells him to come and hurry up. She comes in and hugs him, telling him that she wants him to stay with her for the night. The woman approaches an insect-looking thing, and it happens to be a demon. Akari screams that she is scared. She tells him that she is doing this because someone told her that watching horror movies together allows her to get a lot of points. Jiro turns off the TV, telling her that this is meaningless. She tells him she is doing this so they can achieve the highest rank and switch partners. She tells him that she has another idea. She bought him pajamas and tells him to twin with her. She tells him to wear this so they can get more points. Jiro doesn't understand why Akari has been acting over the top since she went out for karaoke with Tenjin that night. He thinks something happened between them, but pretends like he doesn't care. She tells him to face the other way so she can change. Plot begins to develop. He decides that since she isn't hesitating, that he will also change in front of her. Lightning comes in and the electricity cuts out. Jiro can't see anything, and Akari jumps on top of him. He feels massive plot developing on his plot, and more developing on his chest. The counter goes up. Jiro realizes that Akari is actually really scared. She gets mad that he saw her cry. He attempts to open his room's door, but he can't open it. They were given rooms that use fingerprint scanners to make sure that each person can have their own privacy, and enter only when given permission. Jiro is unable to fix it, and thinks that Akari doesn't think much of him, although he doesn't mind if he gets to see her like this. She is pressed up against him and tells him to say something fun. She tells him that no girl would like him if he can't come up with any good story or joke. She calls him a vermin and virgin. She then says that there is no one else here, and holds his hand. She asks if she could just depend a little on him, and he begins to think she's cute. Akari found a flameless candle next to her that she got from her friend at school. They turn it on, and she thinks that it smells very nice, and Jiro agrees. They spend time next to each other, and Akari begins to fall asleep with their hands next to each other. Jiro says her last name, and he hugs her next to him. He calls her cute as he hugs her, and realizes that he just confessed. He wonders if she heard him, but luckily she's asleep. He speaks out loud, thinking that she's so cute even when she's asleep. She tried to watch a horror movie even though she doesn't like it. He realizes that he'll allow her to depend on him a little. He tells her goodnight, and when he's asleep, Akari wonders what he meant, as she heard everything he just said. The grades of the first 2 weeks are finally out, and all of Jiro's friends are doing great. Akari comes to look at the board and sees that they are still E-rank, the lowest one. Jiro kept worrying about Shiori, knowing that she hasn't been doing that well with Tenjin either. But no matter how hard he worked together with Akari, none of it would matter if Shiori and Tenjin don't make it to I-rank. Jiro gets a text from Akari while he is sick, remembering that she left him to hang out with her friends while he is sick. He wonders if Shiori would have been kind and looked after him. He wishes Akari would come early for him even if it was just pretend marriage. The doorbell rings, and he gets excited thinking Akari came home. Shiori is standing outside the door. Akari sits with her friends, but appears to be dozing off. Her friends bet that she was thinking of Tenjin, and say that the pancakes are supposed to have the same texture as a real kiss. Akari remembers the kiss she had with Jiro, and tells them that they are wrong. Her friends wonder why she knows so much, and Akari is mad because she doesn't know why she's thinking so much about Jiro. Shiori bought stuff for Jiro, but Shiori reveals that Akari was the one who asked her to help her. Jiro is extremely grateful for Akari being the best wingman. Shiori brought him a gift that reminded her of when he also visited her when they were younger and gave her a headdress when she was sick. She gives it to him now, and she goes into the kitchen, putting an apron on. He thinks Tenjin must be lucky for enjoying her food every day, but she reveals that they actually take turns cooking. Jiro reveals that he lets Akari take care of all the cooking, and that she is actually an amazing cook even though she doesn't look like it. Shiori asks if everything is going well between them. Jiro doesn't answer, but instead asks Shiori if everything is okay with her as he saw they had low ranking. He pretends to be nice, but it is really mostly because he wants to live with her. She thanks him and says that she is trying her hardest to succeed, and tells him that she thinks it would have been better if Jiro was her husband. She says that she's just joking, and begins to get up. Jiro holds her hand and tells her that she can do it, encouraging her and telling her to be more confident. He rushes under the bed and realizes that he shouldn't have lunged at her like that because it might have embarrassed her. He gets scared, realizing that eventually she will be comfortable with Tenjin and be happy with him instead. As Jiro sleeps, she tells him that she was actually very happy that he called her out by her first name for once. She leans over his bed.
One Piece arse.
The girls talk about Shiori to Akari and call Shiori a sweet and pure girl. The girls think that Tenjin will end up falling for Shiori if she begins making a move on him, and ask her what she thinks of this. However, she doesn't seem to be paying attention at all and her mind is somewhere else. At the apartment, Shiori stops herself from almost kissing him as they're not married. She remembers the day she asked him to always be her friend. She wanted to make plans to see him, especially at Christmas, but before she could finish her plans, the saddened Jiro stood up and told her that he had to leave. My man friends on himself. She thinks that he will hear her out if she tried harder this time. Jiro asks her to talk with him and tells her that he will do his best to be her husband. He says that he'll do everything to make sure that she can end up with Tenjin. Akari thinks that's great, but doesn't understand why she feels so upset about it. Akari asks him if guys like girls like Shiori that are earnest and sweet. Jiro tells her that his opinion doesn't matter as she likes Tenjin. She tells him that he promised he'd help her, so he needs to answer. She bends over the table.
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
He tells her that home-cooked lunches filled with love would be the best thing to make a guy happy, especially from a girl like Akari since no one would expect it. Jiro begins helping her with her lunchbox strategy. They cook food together, and Jiro sees that she has made an amazing lunch for him. He eats her food, but tells her that it's amazing but he would like it more sweet. She tells him that she doesn't care what he thinks because Tenjin has a more mature vibe to him, and Jiro tells her that she shouldn't be asking him then. Akari makes him a box of lunch to take with him. His friend tells him that his relationship chart looks like it's straight from an erotic manga. He asks him if he's one of those harem protagonists that doesn't do anything with anyone even though he's constantly with beautiful women. This guy gets it. Akari comes in hearing that they're talking about her. She asks him how the lunch he made her was, and he tells her that it was very good. He still tells her that he would have preferred if they were sweeter. She yells at him because she still doesn't care what his preferences are. They begin fighting in the background while his friend hears the entire conversation. He recites a song in his head while avoiding this situation. Jiro plays his game at night. He wakes up in the morning and sees the food she's made for Tenjin, and he thinks that it looks amazing. She feeds him her rolled omelets to taste test it and hand it over to him. He eats it from her, but still thinks it's not sweet. He remembers that his mock wife is making lunch for another man, while the girl he's in love with is married to that man. There is definitely no sweetness here. Akari dresses up to prepare this lunch for him. Jiro realizes that she's never worn anything like that to be with him. She asks him for a goodbye thing like how he did the other time. Jiro is confused and thinks that he can't do it. Jiro tells her that she's going to see Tenjin. She tells him that it's Jiro's kiss that she wants, because it made her feel really safe last time. Shiori is at the door, and she brought apple pies for them since she made extra. Shiori tells her that she made it for Tenjin, and that he likes sweet things, so she made something that would suit his tastes. Akari stares at it sadly, calling it delicious. He sees Akari sitting in sadness once more. He tells her to cheer up. She tells him that Tenjin likes sweet things, and Akari wonders what else she could be good for. She thought she could get by with her cooking. Jiro realizes that she's a bit upset, and attempts to make her feel better by praising her. He tells her every guy thinks she's great, and she asks him in what sense. He tells her in the beautiful way and how she's the fantasy of every guy, and he realizes that he's making everything worse. He attempts to reach for the galaxies to fix what he just said. She asks him if he thinks of her that way too. He tells her that he's never thought about it. She calls him a liar and gets on top of him. She asks him if he's ever thought of doing things like this with her. She asks him again, and how many times he has, and what he thinks about it. He tells her to stop. She asks him that he's wanted to try it before, hasn't he? She tells him that he can go ahead, and that she will grant his wish. He wonders if it's okay for him to have this happen. However, he realizes that he has an uneasy feeling, and sees her shaking. He grabs her, and tells her that he won't do it. He tells her that only lovers do this type of thing, and is sad that he lost his chance. She gets up, telling him to stop with this married thing. Jiro is in the bathroom and 3D Kun comes in, asking him why he's at the bottom of the list. He tells him that nothing's wrong, and thinks to himself what the correct choice would have been. At first, he thought she was just making fun of him, but then he realized that she was actually shaking by holding her hand. It became clear to him that this is all new to her just like him, that it's her first time. He thinks that if this is all true, then he's the worst person in the world. Shiori comes up to Jiro, asking him if he has some time to talk with her. She bends over the rails. Shiori asks him what happened between him and Hikari. Jiro explains that it can be called an argument, and he says that he said something he shouldn't have. He wishes he could find the time to apologize to her, but she doesn't seem to want to talk to him. Shiori tells him that he's with her for most of the day, so if he talks to her, Hikari will surely understand. She tells him that she knows him better than himself because she's his childhood friend. Jiro heads home, seeing there is food prepared for him. Their counter is all the way at 0, and Hikari is in her room. Jiro musters the courage to knock on her door, and asks her to talk with him. She opens the door and tells him to come in. He thinks her room smells like a girl, and sees her laying down on the bed and ignoring him. He tries to apologize for what happened, but she says nothing happened. He tells her she got the wrong idea, so he tells her that he did want to do it with her, and that he's also had a lot of fantasies engaging in character development with her. She interrupts him and tells him to stop and that it's harassment. She tells him he's in a girl's room saying this stuff, and that's why he'll never be able to upgrade his V car. He agrees with her, and tells her that the real reason he stopped her was because he wanted to treat her with more care than that. He goes on to say that he hates how awkward it has been between the two of them. He asks her for a chance, and takes the towel off her head. He tells her that he wants to be a married couple with her again. He gets flustered and realizes that he may have crossed the boundary, and that he wouldn't cross it because she wants tension. She gets upset, and then she starts laughing at him, calling him desperate. He tells her that she's the one who told him not to be a married couple anymore. She tells him that either way, they wouldn't be able to stop because they can't graduate otherwise. He thinks she lied to him, but she tells him that it wasn't a lie, it was just